Hi, it's Pastor Mike here. We're doing something different. You've been getting emails, weekly emails that were edited and headed up by Jeanette, who, as we speak, is on her way to Tennessee. And God bless her. We're going to miss her. And we said goodbye to her Sunday as God is moving her to uh, Tennessee on mission. And so we love her and trust you'll continue to pray for her as her journey continues forward. And so we did the emails, and I wanted to try something because I'm an old guy who kind of likes the technology of the day, and uh, and so I thought, well, I'm going to try this video announcement right here in the privacy of my office with just me and the computer screen, and I could talk to you, and I'll keep them brief, but I give me a chance to share my heart also with you because it's not for me. It's not just about the stuff that goes on here, which a lot of things go on here, and it's not about just getting the announcements out, but it's just another way to connect with you and to take a moment and share with you, see even some things God is speaking to my heart. And he's been really dealing with me about this coming new year. And as we look forward, we are going to start the new year on January 4th with 21 days of prayer and fasting and going after God. Every morning at 9 o'clock in the annex, we'll be getting together and praying. We're doing some fasting through the 21 days. And I've already, been leading into the year just seeking God and getting his heart. And God began to speak to me about um, this critical time we're in, the church is in, and that our nation is in, and that me and you are in personally, because I feel like we're in a place where we've never been before. And we have a future ahead of us that we've not walked into yet. And so, with that in mind, we're going to be looking at a passage on Sunday that's going to kind of be the springboard into what I believe God is speaking to us out of Joshua chapter 3 and chapter 4. And there's a verse in Joshua 3:4 where he talks about that they're going to follow the ark, but they're following at a certain distance and to maintain the distance but in other words, keep it in view, but don't fall too far behind because you're going to follow the ark. And the ark represents the presence of God. It's always represented the glory of God. And he makes this statement in here. He says to stay at this pace and this distance because you have never passed here before. And so they were going into something they had never gone into. This is a particular transitional time in the history of Israel where they had been delivered out of Egypt, and then they had come through 40 years of wilderness wanderings mostly because of their unbelief. And now this new generation, along with Joshua and Caleb, are going to enter into finally the promised land. But there's one obstacle between them and the promised land, and it's the Jordan River. And the Jordan River at this particular time and season, and there were no dams at this time like there are now. If you go to Israel and see the Jordan River, it's not all that impressive. But back in this day, it was a formidable crossing, and it represented a barrier that stood between them and their promise, their inheritance, the abundant life that the promised land represented to them. And so we're going to unpack that, and we're going to see what that represents to us, and how we're at a similar place, and what the Jordan represents, and what the ark represents, or as the presence of God, and how important it is for us to stay with it and stay with our hearts pressing into God's presence. Many people today have traded off popularity and cultural acceptance and just to be one of the many, and traded the presence of God. And we it's like we want the favor of people, and we want the acceptance of people more so than we do even God's acceptance. And so it's very important we get this message. But the most critical part of this is, I believe, is how the church today is faced with the challenge to get dreaming again. I believe the enemy has squashed and stopped many of God's people from their dreams and from dreaming. And, a sanctified imagination is one of the most powerful things in the world, because it's what you see in your heart that is going to actually be the world that you create and live in. And so, it's so important that we figure out how to dream with God once again, and how to let our sanctified imagination just be unleashed for our hope to come alive. Hebrews 11:3 says, faith is the substance of things hoped for, the evidence of things not seen. And there are important things here that are unpacked in Hebrews 11 about hope. Because hope is what you feel with, and faith is what you see with, and love is what gives you the ability not to quit. Love never fails. So you have hope, which is born out of the dreams of your life. You hope is the imagining a world and what a difference your world would be with God. And by comparison, worry is your imagination without God. It's imagining your situation, your world without God. That's what worry and fear is. But hope is your imagination telling you, this is my world with God. And how different could our world be with God? How different would we be, and our families be, and our world be, if God was in the center of it? And so that's what we're going to take a look at Sunday, and unpack it and see what the word has for us as we move forward, because I believe it's going to be a word that sets the pace for the entire year. And with that in mind, I want to thank you for the month of December and just all the generosity. It started with Jamal coming in the first weekend of December, and we blessed him and his ministry. And between what Marie did and what we did as a church, he went out of here with over $10,000 to help the mission of the refugees in Jordan that have come from Syria and Iraq due to ISIS. And we just thank you for that. And then we helped over 100 kids this Christmas have Christmas because of your generosity. And, that represents a lot of dollars and a lot of sacrificial giving to see that Christmas came through the Kimbrough Toys effort and through Portage Under the Tree. So just thank you for your generosity. But I'm asking you for this Sunday, with all of that being said, the needs of the church goes on, and typically, because of everyone, we all spend a lot on our families for Christmas alongside of that. And a lot of times the church's, general giving takes a hit there. And so I'm asking you to bring a special offering Sunday, just so we can finish the year strong, and we can catch up on some things that, the month of December has went other areas. So it's thank you for that. Thank you for your generosity. But I just want to call to your attention that we just have a need here in the church, and so I'm asking you to do something special and finish the year out strong with us, and be your last opportunity to give in 2015. And we just want to do it for the glory of God. And then I also want to invite you to our New Year's Eve special service that we're having New Year's Eve at 7 o'clock. And we're going to have prayer and worship and food and fellowship. And I just want to invite you to come out and just spend a little time with us. You don't have to It's not like you don't have to commit to coming out for 4 hours. We're not. In fact, I'm kind of one of those 9 o'clock Christians. I'm up early in the morning, so I'm usually in bed no later than 10 o'clock at night. So I haven't seen midnight in a long time. But I want you to join me, and let's come out and pray and start out the new year with just a time of fun and fellowship and prayer, asking God for His will, His direction. I believe it's just going to be a fun time, and I just want to give you a special invitation. And then finally, I want to invite you to the growth track that begins the first Sunday of September. The emphasis that we've put on the growth track and the 4 cups. The cup of salvation, the cup of deliverance, the cup of purpose, and the cup of a meaningful life that's making a difference. And so we in those 4 weeks, we just really unpack the vision of City Point and how our desire is to bring you each step that will take you into your life really making a difference. And we've just had some great results from this. And if you haven't taken it, I want to encourage you to make plans to do so. And if you've started it and haven't finished it, please do it and see it through. Start this new year with that purpose, And I'm not asking you to make a New Year's resolution because, thousands and millions of people are going to make New Year's resolutions. In fact, I've noticed, I go to the Y a few times a week, and I've noticed there's an uptick in the attendance at the Y here in the last week. And, it's the people who get to look in and they're thinking, well, maybe this is the time. And they make New Year's resolutions, and maybe somebody gives them a free month. And so the first week of January, the Y is packed. And, but then the sore muscles come because you haven't worked out in a long time. Believe me, I know this because this is what I did last year. But instead of quitting after a few weeks, I stayed with it. And I watched the first week, was packed. The second week thinned out. The third week thinned out a little more. By the fourth week, it's back to normal. Because those New Year's resolutions are not really, they don't run deep enough. It's not going to change anything just to say, well, I wish I coulda, shoulda, woulda. But when you have a conviction and you set yourself not on a New Year's resolution, but a New Year's transformation. God, change me. I want my life to be changed. I want my life to take on some new significance, new direction, new purpose, new meaning. I want to encourage you to come out and that's what you're going to find in the growth track. Give us 4 weeks and we will watch God just totally speak to your life about who you are, where you're going, what you need to be doing. And you will just be blessed, and along with many others who've been the recipients of the understanding that comes from the growth track. So that starts the first Sunday in September. I appreciate you. I want to just pray a blessing on your new year, that it won't be just a New Year's resolution, but that God will shower down on you His grace, His favor, and you'll see a New Year's transformation. And that God will change you, and He will so minister to you in His grace and favor that you will never, ever be the same again. And you will be blessed, your family blessed. Everything you put your hand to will be blessed as we walk into this brand new year. We love you. Thank you for listening and for staying with me. And you can even let me know how you like this. I'd really appreciate finding out. And so God bless you, and you have a great day.